Hi, and welcome back to Whitetail Acres Farm. On our homestead, we love raising all of our own meat. It's not only enjoyable to raise the animals, but then the quality of the meat that we get to feed our family is nothing like you would ever get in the stores. So today is butchering day for the chickens. We got these chickens as little 3-day-old chicks. We raised them until they were about teenagers, like you see here. And then once they had their wings and were old enough, we moved them outside into some chicken tractors that Ryan made. These are his own custom-made chicken tractors. Really beautiful, really adorable, and will hopefully last our lifetime. But the chickens love being in here. We make sure we put them out on fresh grass as soon as they're old enough to. And that way we can feed them some of their protein feed, in addition to allowing them to eat all of the natural bugs and scratch around in the grass and dirt and do all the things that the chickens love to do. So this is where they stay until they're about 8 weeks old, and then it's time to butcher them. One thing I'll add is that when they're in the chicken tractors, we move them about every 1 to 2 days. This is to help ensure that they always have fresh grass to be on. So I'll save you the trouble of watching the actual processing of the chickens. And we'll jump right into the part where they're already cleaned up and ready to get put into the freezer. So when we're preparing the whole birds to get put into the freezer, we like to look inside the cavity, make sure that there's nothing left in there that needs to be taken out. And then we give the bird just a once over, making sure that it's looking good. Then we put them in these freezer bags. They're actually shrink bags. And then once we have them in the shrink bags, we'll be able to put them in some hot water, which will shrink the bag, and it'll be all set for the freezer. And we'll show you that in just a moment. And you may notice here that one nice little touch that we do is right before we put the bird in the shrink bag, Ryan likes to cut a little slit in the skin of the bird so he can put the legs through it, and it gives you that nice appearance just like you would expect to see at a grocery store. Freezing the birds whole is so much easier than parting them out, which we're going to be doing next with the rest of the birds here. But we love doing them whole. Not only is it easier to, process that way and to get them ready for the freezer because there's so many less steps, but it's also so much easier when cooking too. You just take a whole bird out, and usually we put it into the oven and roast it, or we might put it on the smoker. Either way, it's delicious. Now Ryan's going to get into some detail here to explain a little bit better about what the process is for preparing whole birds for the freezer and how the packaging process works.
So the chickens that we part out, we vacuum pack and freeze them that way. The whole chickens we do in shrink bags because it's quick, it's easy, and it preserves the bird in the freezer. So here we have our whole birds already in the shrink bag. The process is real easy. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that here. So you just take the bag. You've got a straw that you have to put down inside the cavity of the chicken, which actually lets the air escape. Then we gather all the excess bag, try to push some air out, give it a twist. We can't twist too tight, so we crush the air hose, which would not let the air escape. You take a zip tie, put it around, just snug it up, not super tight just yet. Just about like that. Then we take the bag over to water that is around 190 degrees, drop it in for a couple seconds, make sure all the plastic gets the hot water on it, and then the plastic will just shrink right around the chicken, effectively pushing out any extra air in there. And we take it out, we pull the air hose out, we can cinch down the zip tie, and then there's our finished bird right there. Looks just like how you would buy a broiler chicken or a roaster bird in the grocery store. And then the last step will just be to trim the tail of the zip tie, cut the excess plastic off, and right into the freezer. That's about it.
And just like that, we have about 13 birds ready for the freezer, and that should get us through until next summer when we're ready for another batch. They just look gorgeous. And now is the more tedious part of the process. We're taking the rest of the birds and we're going to part them out so we can freeze the parts individually. We like to do like packs of 4 to 6, depending on what part we're packaging up. But we like to separate out the legs, the thighs, the wings, the breast, and Ryan can sometimes even get the tenders separated here too, which is a nice treat. So he's hard at work here. He's wonderful at using the knife and parting everything out. He makes it look so easy, like he's cutting through butter. I don't know how he does it, but that's usually his job. And then my job is packaging everything up, vacuum packing it, and then putting it in the freezer. And here you can see a nice representation of all the different parts that you can get from a bird to be able to set aside. You can mix and match these however you want when you're packaging them up, but it looks great. So we're just gonna put all of them aside, continue this process with all the other birds, and then get everything ready to get put in bags. So we have this awesome Cabela's vacuum packer. It's come in handy so many times. We use it for everything, for freezing meat like we're doing here. We use it for freezing produce when we get when we harvest from the garden. So like I said, we usually put 4 to 6 pieces of meat in a bag at a time, and then we put them in the vacuum sealer to make sure we first pull all of that air out, get it like shrink wrapped, I guess, like really tight. And then we always put a second seal on the bag just to give that extra sense of security, knowing that the meat is going to stay nice and fresh all year long. And there you go. We have everything packaged up now. We have several packs of thighs, some breasts, legs, and then we also have a couple packages that we were able to put together of wings and 1 pack of the tenders. I put all of the carcasses into the oversized slow cookers. I try to make sure that there's an even amount in both of them, and then I throw in some vegetables, lots of good yummy seasonings, and then I let them slow cook for at least 24 hours. After the 24 hours, I will strain all of that juice out and I'll get them into jars, and then I'll pressure can them so they are all ready to go in our pantry on our shelves there, and they can be used in any future dish. And so we don't waste anything. We love having a huge variety, from these birds that we raised. So we get to enjoy the birds. We get to have some whole birds in the freezer, all the different parts of the birds in the freezer for different dishes and variety. And then we also have the broth that we get to enjoy. So